Alright, good evening to all of you once again. In our today's lecture, we will be discussing about the politics of the two places. The one is Bengal and the other one is Jaunpur. Jaunpur. Okay, when I'm using the word politics, so don't relate the politics of Mamata Banerjee with Modi ji. This politics is related to the medieval India, almost 600 years back from now, in the 14th or 15th century. At that time, what was the situation of Bengal and under whose authority Bengal was being governed? So at that time, Bengal was basically divided in three divisions. The one was Satgaon, Sonargaon, and the third one was Lakhnauti. These all places used to be under the influence of the Tughlaq dynasty basically. But what was the problem of Bengal? That Bengal had enough distance from the central authority where Tughlaq dynasty in Delhi was ruling. Apart from this, the terrain was also very tough. As you know, we are talking 600 years back from now. So that time, these kinds of roads and this modern medium of the transportations were not available. So it was very difficult to reach Bengal and to take care of the Bengal properly. As a result, what happens to take the advantage of this inaccessibility or this distance, a person whose name was Shamsuddin Ilyas. This used to be the governor of basically this Satgaon under the Firoz Shah Tughlaq at that time. But what happens that this Shamsuddin Ilyas, when he realized that the shadow of the Tughlaq dynasty is very, very far away from the Bengal, and he utilized the difficulties faced by the central authority, and what he did that he established his own dynasty from Satgaon. And that dynasty was known as the Ilyas dynasty. And after Satgaon, he also annexed the Sonargaon and Lakhnauti. He tried his level best to expand the territorial expansion of the original Satgaon, which was initiated or founded in the terms means he founded his dynasty from this region, as he used to be the governor of the Satgaon. This Shamsuddin Ilyas, as he was hungry for the territorial expansion, so what happened that he went towards the western direction. And there is a region called Tirahut. You may have read about it while preparing for the BPSC. This is a geographical division in Bihar. Muzaffarpur is the headquarters of this Tirahut. So this Ilyas, Shamsuddin Ilyas, tried to took over this Tirahut, and he kept on going in the western direction. And what happens when he reached to Banaras? That time, this Firoz Shah Tughlaq, he realized that this man Shamsuddin Ilyas is violating the rules of the territorial expansion, because the Banaras was under the influence of the Tughlaq dynasty at that time, and this was an attack over the hegemony of the Firoz Shah Tughlaq. So what happens that this Firoz Shah Tughlaq, in order to teach a lesson to this Shamsuddin Ilyas, reached to Pandua. Pandua is the capital. It used to be the capital of Shamsuddin Ilyas. And after reaching Pandua, he had a battle. In that battle, Shamsuddin Ilyas was not in a very comfortable situation. As a result, what he did, that he ran away and took shelter in a fort called Ekdala. This is a very famous fort inside Bengal, and this has been the center point of many rulers. This Shamsuddin Ilyas took shelter when Firoz Shah Tughlaq attacked, and the son of Shamsuddin Ilyas also took the shelter in the same Ekdala fort. So you can say it was a life-saving place for these rulers. And as this Ilyas reached to the Ekdala fort, it became very difficult for the Firoz Shah Tughlaq to attack over him, because the location of this Ekdala fort was very strategically important. It was located in an island, and islands are surrounded by the water. So I always say that it is always difficult to cross the water body than crossing the land body. So Shamsuddin Ilyas somehow saved himself by reaching the fort of Ekdala. But what happens, this Firoz Shah Tughlaq, as he had been hurt very badly, therefore a treaty happens between this Ilyas and Firoz Shah Tughlaq, and in that treaty it was decided that the river Kosi will be treated as the boundary between your empire and mine. And after that time, Ilyas never violated this Kosi division. Somehow he dared, sometimes he dared, but he controlled himself. After that, what happened, that he did not stop expanding his territory. He attacked in Assam, he attacked in Tirahut again, and he attacked in some of the connected portion of the Pandua, the capital of this Shamsuddin Ilyas. And believe me, he attacked so frequently, and he also won. He attacked so frequently that he became, or he was also known as the Alexander of Bengal. Alexander of Bengal, you can say the second Alexander of India. This Shamsuddin Ilyas, because of his frequent attacks and winning the battle. So that's how this Shamsuddin Ilyas became very famous in the history of Bengal, especially in the medieval history of Bengal. After this Shamsuddin, what happens, that Shamsuddin Ilyas was also very well known for the inclusive administration. At present time, you can say the Sabka Saath and Sabka Vikas. So he did it, not only told, he did it. He executed this inclusive administration policy. And because of this execution, the subjects of this Ilyas were in his confidence, and all the people were in his support. And you can understand this thing when Firoz Shah Tughlaq once reached to Pandua, and he tried to broke the people who were connected to this Shamsuddin Ilyas. He told that I'll give you the land, I'll give you the money. You come to my side, I will take care of you. But believe me, no any nobleman, no any person who was living under the shadow of this Samsuddin Ilyas, went towards Firoz Shah Tughlaq. So you can understand what kind of confidence and sense of security this person has developed in Bengal. After this Samsuddin Ilyas, the next ruler in the medieval history of Bengal, whose name was Gayasuddin Azam. Okay, Gayasuddin Azam. He comes in the hot seat, or you can say he succeeds. By the way, he was not the immediate successor, but he was one of the successors of this Ilyas dynasty. And this Gayasuddin Azam was very well known for his love towards justice. There is a very famous king. Yeah, Solomon was also known for his justice. Okay, there is a different story about Solomon. So this Gayasuddin Azam, he was also known for love towards justice. And how can we prove it? Because one day what happens, that accidentally he killed the son of a widow, and that widow reached to the Qazi of the court, and that Qazi invited to, you can say, the ruler or this Gayasuddin Tughlaq. It was not an easy task at that time, because most of the people, they used to be a darbari sort of people, never went against the king. But the Qazi treated this king or this Gayasuddin Azam as a common man, and that Qazi fined a huge amount of money, more money than was supposed to be levied to a common man. And when the king saw the justice of that Qazi, the king really became very happy. And he thought, I have a very neutral person, and this man really has the capability to dispense the justice, and which is very essential for the survival of the authority, at least in a positive sense. So this Gayasuddin Azam, he also told to the Qazi that if you had not treated me as a common man, and if you had not levied a huge amount of fine over me, believe me, I would have got you beheaded before the people. So this was the transparency in terms of justice during the reign of Gayasuddin Azam. After the Gayasuddin Azam, there was no any significant ruler in the medieval history of Bengal, and that's how this Ilyas dynasty comes to an end. Now let's discuss about this Jaunpur. Jaunpur, also known as the Siraj of the East. Siraj. Any idea what actually this Siraj is? For what it stands for? Siraj. Any idea? Any? You may have heard Lord. By the way, he is not the Lord because he was against the God. Buddha. He is known as the light of Asia. There was also a chapter in our school days, light of Asia. I was thinking, what kind of light is this at that time? Siraj is basically the synonyms of light. So this Jaunpur, once upon a time in the medieval India, became the Siraj or you can say the light, the shining of the East India. By the way, somewhere it is also written the whole India. This Jaunpur, it used to be again under the influence or under the authority of the Tughlaq dynasty, and at that time there was a person whose name was Malik Sarwar. Malik Sarwar. This Malik Sarwar used to be the governor, the way this Ilyas used to be the governor of Satgaon. In the same way, this Malik Sarwar used to be the governor of Jaunpur. What happens? A ruler whose name was Nasiruddin Muhammad, one of the successors of this Tughlaq dynasty, he declared this Malik Sarwar as the chief or not chief, master of the East. He gave a title to this Malik Sarwar, master of the East. After that, if you remember the time period of Nasiruddin Muhammad, it is somewhere around 1394. And what happens in 1398, just 4 years later, the attack or the invasion led by whom? Yes?
Taimur.
Yes, Taimur, who generated the fear into the hearts of every Delhites. The kind of massacre he committed, it had never seen before. Killed countless people, did not see whether he is a boy or he is an old man. Believe me, this Tailang was so ruthless that because of the fear of this Tailang, the people of Delhi, they started getting off, married their sisters and daughters before the age of puberty, lest Taimur should not play with their dignity. So out of this, so you can understand what a ruthless ruler this Taimur Lang was. And the Tughlaq dynasty was not powerful enough to fight back with this dangerous man. Therefore, what happens that the central authority gets weakened enough. And the same thing, he takes the advantage of that weakening authority of the center, and this Malik Sarwar founded the Sharqi dynasty. Sharqi dynasty in Jaunpur. He was also known as the Siraj of the East. Also got the title by Nasiruddin Mahmud, Master of the East. After this Malik Sarwar, the next ruler who comes, his name was Ibrahim Shah Sharqi. And this Ibrahim Shah Sharqi is known in the history of Jaunpur for Atala Masjid. Atala, by the way, let me tell you, Atala Masjid was not founded, or you can say it was not started during the time of this man, because the construction of Atala Masjid had already been started by Firoz Shah Tughlaq. But this man completes this Atala Masjid. So for the completion of the Atala Masjid, this Ibrahim Shah Sharqi is very well known. The way Iltutmish is known for the completion of the Qutub Minar. However, it was started by Kutubuddin Aibak. After Ibrahim, the next ruler, Mahmud. Mahmud Shah Sharqi. But this Mahmud Shah Sharqi, his wife was more famous than the ruler itself. The name of his wife was Raji Bibi. Raji Bibi or Bibi Raji. She is famous for two things. By the way, she is famous for many more things, but I am restricting myself having the competitive exams on the backdrop. Raji Bibi, the one thing that she is known for the construction of a mosque that is known as the Lal Darwaza. Lal Darwaza Mosque. And this Lal Darwaza Mosque, it was not for everybody to go and pray to the Allah. No. It was a private mosque for the Bibi Raji or the Raji Bibi. No any other person was allowed to go inside that mosque. Apart from this Raji Bibi, she also constructed one of the madrasas close to this Lal Darwaza, and in that madrasa only Muslim boys were allowed to go and get educated. That madrasa is still existing in Jaunpur. So if anyone, your close relative wants to get the good and qualitative education, you can refer to go this madrasa initiated by Bibi Raji. The last known ruler of this Sharqi dynasty is who? Hussain Shah Sharqi. Hussain Shah Sharqi. And Hussain Shah Sharqi was very fond of music. He also got the title called Gandharva. I think Gandharva is related to music. Gandharva of this Jaunpur. And not only this, he also developed one of the musical, what do we call? The khayal. Okay, khayal. Khayal, actually it is a style of singing some specific songs. The musical genre was generated by the last known ruler of the Sharqi dynasty, Hussain Shah Sharqi, as he was already the fond or the lover of the music known as Gandharva. Initiated this khayal. Khayal, I think you may have listened in this Vivid Bharati sort of channels. The person who do not have the knowledge of the classical music, believe me, listening khayal will be like giving third degree to that person. You know, they will initiate different kind of lay and they will keep on stretching it, and the people who are sitting, they keep on clapping as if what is, something definitely it's an extraordinary thing, but it can only be understood by the people who know the ABCD of this classical music. In the same way, if somewhere is happening Jalebi by dance and somewhere Bharatanatyam, you can very easily understand where the crowd will be. So this khayal was generated by the last ruler of this Sharqi, Hussain Shah Sharqi. He also constructed the Jama Masjid. Okay, Jama Masjid in many more places. We are living in Delhi, so it is, I would say, the most famous one because it was constructed by Shah Jahan, who is naturally connected with Mumtaz and Taj Mahal. So this Jama Masjid, otherwise it is also located in Kashmir. Okay, when we study the history of Kashmir, the medieval history, Jainul Abidin constructed this Jama Masjid, very unique. And in Jaunpur also the Jama Masjid was constructed by this Hussain Shah Sharqi. So this was as far as the Sharqi dynasty of Jaunpur was concerned, and this Bengal Ilyas dynasty, the second Alexander or the Napoleon of India, Shamsuddin Ilyas. So it was from my side. We will be discussing some other topics related to history in our coming sessions. Namaskar.